Hey, this is Mrs. Reichelt, and we're moving into the lymphatic system. So we'll just go ahead and get started. This first video is just going to cover the major lymphatic vessels. So the lymphatic system overall contains two semi-independent parts. The first one are the lymphatic vessels, and then the second one are the lymphoid tissues and the organs. So there's different organs of the lymphatic system, like the tonsils and Peyer's patches and the appendix and some of those kind of things. We won't get into that this video, but just so you know the organs associated. The lymphatic system has a couple of different functions. The first function is that it transports escaped fluid back to the blood. The second is that it plays an essential role in the body's defense and resistance to disease. So if we look over here at this diagram, we see that the heart is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood to your body system. So this red is showing that it's oxygenated. Then we get to your capillaries. So your blood capillaries are right here. That's where you have the red mixing, and it shows you purple where gas exchange is occurring, and then also blue where it's now deoxygenated blood. But what happens sometimes is there's fluid that escapes these arterioles and the venules during the gas exchange, and they end up getting trapped into the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system then will, back to number one, transport that escaped fluid back to your heart, and it also will deal with disease and defense, that sort of thing. All right, so the major lymphatic characteristics. The first thing I guess we need to talk about is what is lymph. So lymph is just excess tissue fluid that's carried by the lymphatic vessels. So as we went through and talked just a second ago about how as gas exchange occurs at those capillary beds, sometimes that diffusion causes fluids that aren't supposed to be in the body tissues. It forces them out. So that basically the lymphatic vessels take those tissues and they bring them back to the blood and ultimately to the heart. So there's major properties of the lymphatic vessels. It's a one-way system towards the heart. There's not a pump involved. And also, lymph moves towards the heart in a milking type action of the skeletal muscle. And then there's rhythmic contractions of smooth muscle in the vessel walls that also encourages movement from the vessels to get back to the heart. The lymphatic vessels actually look like this. These are the really tiny ones here. So you see that we have our capillary beds, and then you have intertwined into those the lymphatic vessels. So the lymph capillaries are the walls that overlap to form flap-like mini valves. So on the next diagram, I'll show you what a mini valve looks like. But basically fluid leaks into the lymph capillaries. So if there's fluid that's, I don't know, maybe right here, it will then leak into that lymph, and then from there the capillaries are anchored by connective tissues that are formed by filaments, and then higher pressure on the inside closes the mini valves, meaning that once escaped fluid leaves the arterioles or the venules, it can't just leave again. It's going to go in that one-way path, and then it'll ultimately lead into a path that gets back to the heart. And then fluid is forced along the vessels, meaning that it can't diffuse out. Once it's in that vessel, it's going to stay there until it's returned to where it's supposed to be. Here's what a little mini valve looks like before I move too far. So this is a little valve. Basically, it's an opening, but there's something that is there so it can't actually come back out. Okay, so the lymphatic collecting vessels collect lymph and lymph capillaries. They carry lymph to and away from the lymph nodes. Okay, the return fluid to the circulatory veins near the heart, and then you have a right lymphatic duct and a thoracic duct. That's where you're going to basically return. That's the major hubs where they're going to return fluid back into the heart. Here are the major lymphatic vessels. Please don't go through and memorize all of these. If we have to talk about them, you'll always be able to reference this diagram. So we have lots of little, you can see all of the lymphatic vessels that are kind of all over the place, and then you should see all of these little circles. These little circles are your lymph nodes, and you have lymph nodes in your groin, you have them in your axillary area, you have them in your throat, you have them in some parts of your sinuses, so you kind of have those all over. Don't worry about memorizing each location of them. We'll just talk about lymph nodes in general. All right, so basically the lymph helps get rid of harmful bacteria or harmful materials that end up in the lymph vessels. This can include bacteria, viruses, cancer cells, or other cell debris. So basically, lymph is sort of a filtering type system. Maybe I'll just put it. It tries to filter out these substances. And those substances are bacteria, viruses, cancer cells, and cell debris. It doesn't always do a great job, but it does a pretty good job of getting rid of those on a daily basis. Your lymph nodes, as we just kind of talked about here, basically the lymph nodes are what actually filter the lymph. So your lymph nodes ends up filtering that lymph and then it returns it to the heart. This is a defense cell within the lymph node. There's macrophages, those are defense cells. They engulf and destroy foreign substances. And then you have lymphocytes. Lymphocytes provide immune response to antigens. So basically, your lymph nodes has a whole bunch of different types of cells that can help to basically protect your body. The structure of a lymph node, most of them are kidney shaped and they're less than an inch long, so they're really quite small. They're made up of a cortex and a medulla. So the cortex is the outer part, which contains follicles, which are collections of the lymphocytes, and then the inner part contains phagocytic macrophages. So collectively, the lymph node is really packed with a bunch of different types of specialized cells that are used to combat any type of foreign pathogen. And then the last slide here, the flow of lymph through the node. So basically, lymph is going to enter the convex side through the afferent lymphatic vessel. From there, the lymph will flow through a number of sinuses inside the node. So remember the last slide, it kind of showed a kidney, and then you had the cortex, and you had the medulla, and then basically there's all these other little areas in here too, and different types of cells. So it's going to enter the convex side through the afferent lymphatic vessel. Then it'll go through several different sinuses that are inside the node. From there, the lymph will exit through the efferent lymphatic vessel, and then there are fewer efferent than afferent vessels, which causes the flow to be slowed. So it's a pretty slow process. Like your heart moves blood very, very quickly through your arteries. This moves a lot slower. So that basically summarizes the lymphatic vessels, and I hope you found that helpful.